Hello out there. Hello in the chat. We see CS Collectibles. How's it going? We're back with Weekly Wrestling Verdict Presents, one of our traditional lookbacks. As always, I'm Fire Frank.
Charlie here.
Charlie's here. And what are we talking about today, Charlie? What are we talking about?
Backlash 2000. Hard to believe it was 23 years ago.
23 years ago, just the other day on the 30th.
3 years ago.
23 years ago in Washington, D.C. Yep. And I was about less than 2 months from graduating high school. Yep, I'm an old man now. So, so we a couple weeks ago, we're like, we got to talk something. We got to talk a retro backlash, right? And we all pretty much came to the same conclusion at the same time. Let's do 2000. And a lot of people loved this show. It felt like many would say the actual WrestleMania that year, if you like the main event at least. So this is in 2000. Obviously, WWF at the time they were really still in that hot period. 99 was a real hot year. Coming into 2000, and you had an influx of new talent. We had Kurt Angle just months into his career, ready kicking. But we had, of course, the Radicals coming over from WCW. If you guys don't know who the Radicals are, so basically a bunch of guys just left WCW. Like they said, if you want to leave, leave. So they said, okay, we're leaving. So we had I'm not there.
Yes, we are live right now.
We're live. I see J Mel's in the chat. Welcome. Hey Tina, how's it going? Anyway, so yeah, they Radicals had left. Benoit, Malenko, Jericho, Saturn, and Eddie Guerrero. Jericho was already there from last summer, so we had a real influx of WCW talent coming over at that time.
You're so excited for Backlash weekend that you're getting tongue-tied.
I am. I know. I'm so excited, and all the news that you hit me with today with this tournament news, and I was like caught off guard. So yeah, I'm really excited for this weekend. Yeah. So going into the show, we just came off WrestleMania the month before, WrestleMania 16, 2000, whatever you want to call it, where Triple H controversially would retain his WWF title in the main event 4-way match. When of course we had McMahon in each corner, and then Vince turned on Rock nonsensically because that's what happened back then.
Of course.
Those McMahons were crazy, man. They were crazy.
It was a different time.
They were always fighting with each other, or they were aligned right here. And well, three of them were. And Linda was always on the other side for the most part. So, so Rock did unfairly lost that match. So we come to this show where he's going to get his big rematch one-on-one finally. We'll talk more about that later. Anyway, so we kick off the show, tag team title match. So we got Edge and Christian, who had just won the titles for the very first time at Mania in that what they called the Triangle Ladder match, the prototypical TLC match, I like to call it. So Edge and Christian just turned heel. They're kind of still finding their new characters here, but for some reason they decided to have them defend against the heel DX team here in X-Pac and Road Dogg. So basically E&C had to play face for this match again, even though they were in the process of turning heel already. But we see them come out. They're actually still coming out through the crowd. They would stop doing that very soon after this.
Yeah.
And we had actually for this match, very special ring announcer.
Oh, yes.
We had Deborah came back out of nowhere to ring announce randomly for the show and then disappear again. I don't want to cast aspersions, but I don't think she was ready to compete that night. What I mean, she seemed a little. I don't know. I think she had a few too many. I think she had a few too many at catering. I don't know. She seemed a little drunk. I could be wrong, but she was slurring her word a little bit. Anyway, so she announces we've got, like I said, Edge and Christian against X-Pac and Road Dogg with Tori. That would be the Tori and DX, the one who was with Kane previously, now with X-Pac. Debuted as Sable Superfan a year ago. So she's in the corner. So we got this match. Pretty decent opener, would you say?
The entrances definitely got the crowd going for a good opener.
Right? Yeah. It's funny. We had, like I said, Edge and Christian are having to play babyface in this match, but Road Dogg, even when they were heels, still did his whole shtick, like babyface entrance. We had this was during the time they're promoting that Aggression, the hip hop WWF album. So we had the Run DMC remix of DX theme, which was always
this pay-per-view was like one giant commercial for
right. Jim Ross just between that and XFL references since they just announced the league.
Yeah,
so it's pretty much it. It's a time capsule for sure. So, but actually, that was a really cool remix. So that they had the music video and everything. That was actually one of the better changes for a song for a time. So anyway, yeah, it was a decent match. Edge and Christian, like I said, playing babyface. Towards the end, they get into everybody gets to the ring, a little bit of a brawl, and in the whole interim with the referee being distracted, DX cheats, but then behind the ref's back, Christian grabs the ring bell and he smacks
X-Pac with it.
Like, and not even with the wood, like you normally hit him with the wooden side, he hit him with the bell side.
Yeah.
I don't know if he accidentally did this, but he nails him.
Yeah.
You hear the bell make a noise, and he's busted open like John Moxley at the beginning of a match, man. He's like his blood's coming down his head. Anyway, this is enough for the pin. X-Pac is sitting there. He possibly concussed. I don't know. I know this is a different time, but I mean, come on. I've never seen a shot this stiff.
No, he nailed it
with a bell. Like usually they hit him with the other side. He literally hits him with the bell side, and it literally made a ding. And Lawler's on commentate, "Hey ref, did you wonder why there's no bell ringing?"
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. That was a great line by Lawler.
So the like I said, they're already kind of heel, but here they're a little cheating against DX. So like two heel teams essentially going at it. So ENC get the sneaky win to retain the titles in 8:37. Decent opener, like I said. Odd that you had two heel teams, but the crowd was into this. They're both still over, both sides. So yeah, it was a nice way to open up the show. Any other thoughts? Oh, I see Gabriel in the chat. Gabe, what's up, man? Thanks for coming on by. Good man. Yeah, so anything else about this match you want to talk about, Charlie, before we move on?
No, I'm good.
All right. I mean, we had a lot of backstage stuff going on. We'll touch. I don't remember exactly where some of this stuff happened. Bear with me. So we'll talk about different stuff that's going on. But we're going to move on to our second match of the night, and we're going to have the light heavyweight title. If anybody remembers that. Light heavyweight title. Dean Malenko is the champion here, defending against Scotty 2 Hotty of Too Cool, who, his partner has been out injured at this moment. So he had a little bit of a singles run here. He won the title from Malenko on TV, and then Malenko, they showed the replay right at the beginning of this match. He just won the title back on SmackDown a couple nights before.
Yeah.
By holding the ropes. Yes, JML, good point there. About X-Pac, for sure. Unfortunately, towards the end, like he was, once he turned heel, they kind of like got tired of him. It was kind of sad because he was a heck of a worker and obviously very over. Great character for a long time. Played on both companies. Come on, he was in two of the biggest stables. So we've got Dean and Scotty here. Actually, I really like this match. It's like a little bit of a hidden gem here.
One thing I noticed about this match is, as a child watching it when it first took place, I took Scotty 2 Hotty to be the gimmicky character that he is.
Right.
But this match went 11 minutes and 47 seconds, and Scotty 2 Hotty hung with Dean Malenko throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, he was a good, like people didn't realize, like he was a veteran. Like for years, they would use him as an extra on TV. He was a veteran on the indie scene in the Northeast. He was a solid wrestler. He was part of the original light heavyweight tournament back in '97, but here he got a chance on it, like I said, a singles role. And he was mega over by this point. The crowd goes nuts for him here. And this is like the second match tonight. The light heavyweight title, and this match is getting this kind of reaction. Pretty crazy. Some fun stuff in this match. He hits the worm. That was hugely over. It's ridiculous. Hugely over. The most ridiculous stuff in wrestling always gets over. Like it happens in every generation. The silliest thing will always work. So yeah, it was pretty crazy match here. We have a lot of near falls. They play off the fact that about like holding ropes. Referee catches them this time.
Yeah.
Lincoln goes up, hits a superplex. Scotty, like I said, he hits the worm, doesn't get the pin off it here, obviously. Well, which is kind of funny they would get a pin off that move anyway, the chop. So Scotty tries to return the favor here. He takes him up to the top rope, right? Malenko counters with one of the deadliest looking DDTs I've ever seen in my life.
That was a sick finish. Sick finish.
Like if you've never seen this match, you got to at least look up this clip.
Looked like, very dangerous on both.
Scotty's got him up for the superplex, and he shifts his weight. He jumps up and DDTs it, and he rolls through like Arn Anderson would.
Yeah,
it defies physics in many ways, and he just drills him on his head. And
I had to double take at that finish.
I'm glad that that's the finish. Like there was no way he's kicking out. Like we see DDT get kicking out all the time. I mean, if he would have, that would have been ridiculous because this man was dead in the ring at this point.
Yeah.
And obviously, and here it was enough for the pin as Malenko retains in 11 minutes 47 seconds. And like I said, a really underrated little hidden gem here that maybe not a lot of people talk about, but it's something I always remember about this show is this match. So good for Scotty and Dean, of course, one of the all-time best in the ring for sure. And then we go backstage here. I know that there's a little bit of a little shenanigans going on. We got the Hardys talking. We've got Crash and Hardcore. Crash is about to defend his Hardcore title, and he's telling his cousin, Hardcore Harley, come on, man, why don't we work together? And then when it comes out to the two of us, we'll go at it. And he goes, what are you, stupid? I forgot what he says exactly. He just says, oh, come on. Poor Crash. So this is during the 24/7 era once Crash had the title, which kind of revitalized the belt again once he did it. It was a little silly, but he kind of went off on its own thing here and became a big highlight of the show. They had that Battle Royal at WrestleMania. So we've got like what does it say?
Man.
Oh, actually, we're not there yet. I skipped over a match. My mistake.
You skipped over the big beefy tag team match.
Right. We did see the setup for the match, but it hasn't started yet. We go. Actually, I did skip over, unfortunately. Well, maybe fortunately. We've got the Big Bossman and Bull Buchanan taking on the Acolytes at the time, APA, Brooke and Bradshaw.
Skip over this match. There wasn't anything.
It was fine. It wasn't anything offensive. It was just two big man teams going at it. Yep. Bossman, he was kind of coming towards the end of his run here. He randomly got a partner in young Bull Buchanan here, who was formerly part of the Truth Commission in 97, 98. Now he's basically a twin of the Boss Man, wearing the riot gear and all that, the SWAT gear, whatever you want to call it. And they were getting a bit of a push. They won at Mania. They beat the APA here, believe it or not, 8 minutes, 37 seconds. Like I said, not much to talk about. It's a fine Haas battle, whatever you want to call it. It's not going to be your 5-star classic, that's for sure. As JR
just two big teams, hard hitting.
Yeah, it was a hard hitting match. Bossman and Bull pick up the win. Bull hitting a nice top rope leg drop, kind of almost like Carmelo Hayes does now, right from the top. He was pretty athletic for a bigger guy.
Yeah.
Bull. Unfortunately, he never really got that big push. Although we do get to see his son now every week on NXT, so it's pretty wild. And young Brooks Jensen. So yeah, that wasn't much of a match. I'm sorry I skipped over it, but rest in peace, Boss Man. One of my favorite all time in wrestling for sure.
Before the hardcore match, you had a super cheesy promo between Matt and Jeff backstage.
Yes. Oh yes, this is where we're going to get to this.
God. This had 2000s written all over it.
Yeah, so they were mad at each other because I think it was Matt had won the hardcore title or Jeff, and they tried to. He came in during the ring and tried to beat him during the match and tried to take the title. They had like a match for the title. Actually, what happened? The two brothers face off for the belt, and Crash comes in and wins the title in the middle of the match because that's 24/7 rules. And this is before the actual 24/7 title that became a joke quickly. This was, even though it was really silly, it was a staple of programming at the time. Yeah, so yeah, Matt and Jeff, not always the best promos, and especially here they weren't.
Oh,
he got a run in because he's like, we're spending too much time talking about Bossman and Bull Buchanan. So
you guys hear me?
We have a run in.
You hear me?
As Edge and Christian are on this, we can hear you. Edge and Christian, this time, used to say, "Hey, we're going to do a run in." They come on. I'll tell you this. Well, he's calling a shot here. Welcome, James.
What's up, everyone?
I knew that baby was more than a yes.
What's going on?
Dean Malenko.
Yeah,
too bad WWE got him at like the tail end of his career.
Yeah, it would have been nice if he had a couple year run there instead of really at the very end. I mean, his stuff in WCW was crazy.
Yeah.
And then, the Jericho feud. I mean, Jericho could get anything over. That feud, they had people like cheering for babyface Dean Malenko like he was The Rock or something. It's insane.
It's true.
That match was
wasn't he PWI's #1 wrestler?
Yes. I think we talked
in
about
1997.
Right. I think we brought that up before on one of our programs. Did we not? Yeah. Yeah, randomly, like they decided because they didn't want to give it, so they just gave it to like who they thought was the best in-ring wrestler at the time, which was weird, even for '97, for the magazines to be doing that.
Look what the cat dragged in.
I see you. We're not talking about baseball cards yet. What we got?
A mouse.
A mouse.
So what? Bull Buchanan and Bossman, that was a hard-hitting match for 8 minutes and 37 seconds.
It wasn't like I said, it wasn't offensive or anything like that. It was just big guys beating on each other. They were pushing.
Did we touch upon yet how terrible Big Show and Kurt Angle's match was?
No, we're just before that with the 6-pack hardcore championship. We're talking about how 2000s the Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy promo was prior to it.
Very bad. for all the people talking about how the scripted promos, people don't sound natural backstage. These two guys never sounded natural, unfortunately. Maybe at certain times they did, but here they definitely did not.
No.
I mean, I was a big fan of Broken Matt. Though. That was like a good or version 1. But right here, this was 20 something Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
So we had Matt and Jeff had a match, and then Crash told the title back. So that's what would happen around this time. Somebody would take the title, and Crash would just come back and take it.
Yeah, the Houdini of hardcore.
Right. So we just had like a 6-way, what they call a 6-pack hardcore match for the title. We had Crash against the Hardys, against Hardcore Holly, against Perry Saturn, and the Taz, because this is where they already had Taz slotted at this point.
Man, it's bright.
Yeah. Once Taz came out to the ring, he was pretty much dead in the water.
This also had one of the bigger time slots of the night.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, this match went 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Wow.
Yeah. It went longer than some of the title matches on this show. Yeah, so this was just your typical run around the arena. They didn't really go backstage or anything like they would do this time, but they went around, the set, which we haven't even touched on the set yet. That classic Backlash, the hooks going like this.
Yeah,
they're doing moves off. I love that look. I missed that. I wish they could bring it back.
Would you say, from a fan's perspective, with the Radicals? Yeah. Sorry to kind of
go ahead. Jump in.
I remember thinking that Perry Saturn was going to be a freaking star.
Sure.
And it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah.
I thought Malenko was going to like out of all the people, just realistically, I thought Eddie Guerrero was going to be the Jannetty of the group. I'm not saying because he wasn't talented. I just thought in WCW we never really got to see Eddie Guerrero
glimpses
shine. So,
yeah. And he wound up probably being the most famous of all of them. And obviously one of them isn't talked about because of other reasons, but even so, I would say he was probably the most impactful of the group for sure. Yeah, so this match, they're doing spots by the ring. They're jumping off the hooks. They break one of the hooks at one point.
Yes.
Pretty cool. They're just beating on each other with various weapons. Went a long time, like I said, over 12 minutes. And we get to a crazy finish. Taz is trying to choke out this guy, and then Hardcore's coming out. They keep interrupting each other, and we end up with Crash just getting a cheap pin after Taz is knocked out by a shot by the stop sign, and he's just out in the ring, and Crash just barely just crawls over and covers him half dead himself to retain the title in 12 minutes 18 seconds. Yeah, it was your typical car crash match at the time. I mean, they probably would have been better off just having the Hardys in the tag match against somebody, but we had this hardcore title thing here.
Yep.
And now we get to JML's favorite match of the night.
Oh, yes. This is during the big show is just wants to have fun period when he was yet another face turn after.
And bear in mind, this was just about a little over a year since he signed with the company.
Exactly.
He had a $1 million per year guaranteed deal, which I believe was one of the largest they ever paid a free agent. I think it was to that time the largest.
Especially for guaranteed money, yeah.
And
they never could figure out what to do with this guy.
No, never. And he's a WWE Hall of Famer, but if you look back at his career, it's a lot of what could have been.
Yeah, there was glimpses, and there were certain small periods where he'd go on some decent runs, but he never was able to. I mean, what was his best run? That's a good point. He had that little run when he took the title off Brock. He was in better shape. He had a good couple months there. When he was ECW champion.
The ECW run was probably his best run.
Probably as far as getting a push there consistently.
That, and then when he got brought back for the Mayweather.
That was definitely
scenario.
A big thing.
I understand this wasn't supposed to be the most technical of matches, but imagine being told as Big Show and Kurt Angle, you have 2 minutes and 35 seconds to go out there and do something.
Yeah, and I wonder, was that on purpose, or they did something run long here and we just had to get this? I mean, it wasn't really about the match; it was about just the entrance.
Well, didn't he disappear after this and went to Ohio Valley?
Pretty soon he got injured a month later.
Shortly after
he got hurt. He gets hurt. And then they do the match with Shane where he takes him out. He comes back briefly and turns heel again. and then he's taken off TV like 2 weeks later, and then they have to turn Kane against Taker for that SummerSlam because they had nobody else to, because it was supposed to be Big Show and Taker, and it was a bit of a mess. He goes down to OVW for about 6-7 months, doesn't come back till Rumble. They even took him out of the video game, No Mercy. He was supposed to be in it.
They did take him out of it, and then in the storylines, he was replaced by Stevie Richards.
Steven Richards, yes, which is always a nice reference. Yeah, it was so random. They just throw Steven with the right to censor. Let's throw him in there. So like it's literally the whole WrestleMania 2000 storyline, but it's Stevie Richards. So he's complaining that he threw the Rock out, or he didn't really hit the floor.
He was with Shane and everything. It was
so
just
ridiculous. Yeah, he was in the game. His stuff was still in the hidden files, his picture and everything. You could create him. It was weird. They were really mad at him. Although again, like what did they do to him? I mean, yes, maybe you could say maybe he was out of shape at that point. He was, but again, could you blame the guy with what they made him work with when he first got there? Like I think they were a little too cocky when they signed him. Like, oh, we're going to do with him what they didn't do with WCW. And honestly, WCW probably booked him better, at least for the first year he was there.
Yeah, for sure.
So we just come to this match, which is just an excuse. Kurt Angle is still very new. He had just lost. He had just
Euro
Continental title, second ever. But he says he's the first ever because D'Lo Brown didn't count, as you recall, is what his words. So he's just coming off losing those titles, and it's like, okay, what are we gonna do with him next? And he's getting this feud with Big Show where he's making fun of Big Show because at this time Show's just like impersonating different people every week. Like in this weird face run. I don't know what was going on here. Like he's with Shane and he says, oh, I want to have fun. And he's impersonating people. There's a video package here. This feud didn't really,
but obviously Angle goes on. He wins the King of the Ring.
He's fine after that. I mean, they kind of pushed him a little, and then he would get little stuff like this would happen, and then Taker kind of sort of squashed him and fully loaded, but
not
he
much
recovered.
Really derail Kurt Angle.
No, he like by SummerSlam he's in the top angle of the story, and no pun intended, in the company with Triple H and Stephanie, that whole thing, the whole triangle thing, which had a disappointing finish, but he was already on his way to being one of the top guys at this point.
Yep.
So we have this match. He comes out, he insults the crowd like only he can, making fun of politicians, making references that are now very dated, but. We got so he's in the ring, and Big Show comes out, and I'm sorry, the Showster,
yeah,
which was kind of funny considering his history with Hogan at this point. So he comes out with the bald cap, he's got the red and yellow on. He does a pretty good impression.
I mean, they're real life friends.
They're real life friends. He did like I said. He brought him into wrestling. He was his first match. He's fighting him for the title. He wins it. So
he throws him off the. He throws him off the arena.
Right. He always took care of him, except for the time he threw.
Ridiculous.
He always took care of him, except for the time he literally threw him off the top of a building. But he lived, much like Pretty Dead. That he's still alive after seemingly getting murdered. For modern reference,
they're gonna swim with the fishes.
But
now they're drafted to SmackDown.
I said at least they were joking. At least when the Giant / Big Show was thrown off the building, if he landed in the water, he should at least came out with like water on him. I forgot who was joking that they should have had him come out with like a fish in a singlet or something. He fell in the river. But yeah, So this is just here to make fun of Hogan. Basically, he was still at WCW at this time. This is during
why? It just seems
I don't know.
You can't even blame this on Russo.
No, Russo was booking Nitro at this point. They were just him and Bischoff had just come back. I mean, the crowd loves it, mind you. It's just got a huge pop. So at the time, everybody kind of loved it, but looking back, it's kind of silly and it's very nonsensical. But and then the match happens, and it's not much of a match, like we said. It's just
they would go to the well so many times with making fun of Hogan on WWE programming too, like. The Huckster, the Nacho Man, then they did this.
And then 2 years after this, the man's winning the WWE title again, mind you.
Yeah.
At Backlash.
Wow. Good point.
Triple H, go figure, right? We JR and King are just
in the red and yellow. And that was like the return.
Right, exactly.
The returns of the red and yellow.
Bizarre, right?
Even though people block out in WCW, he had returned to the red and yellow. Hogan.
Yes, he did. Before the Russo Bischoff era where he was wearing all black, but yeah, he had actually come back. People may have forgot about that. That was pre Russo too when he came back in the red and yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this. You know, it's retcon, much like how Rey Mysterio never lost his mask. Even though we know better. Yeah, it's not much of a match. It's basically it's a little bit. He does a little Hulk up immediately, but then Angle kicks out a leg drop. They kind of wrestle for a minute or two, and Big Show gets mad. He takes off the cap and he choke slams him for the win. And we got 2 minutes and 35 seconds.
So the next match, I'm gonna take the lead for this.
Okay, go right ahead.
The next match, tag team match, TNA, Test and Albert with Trish Stratus. Let me tell you something, and it's against the Dudleys.
Yeah,
Trish was about a month into her run in the company, and she was instantly a star. And it's not just because of looks. She sold this angle with
absolutely
Velvet Ray Dudley like a champ. She just was a natural.
Her acting is already natural.
This was before the in-ring. She knew what to do. She got this angle over. They were over as a tag team, TNA.
They
got the win over a really over tag team, the Dudleys.
Yeah, Dudleys had just been tag champions. They get a win here, but Dudleys had just basically turned face after Mania, and they were this whole thing started. They're putting women through the table as a heel, and now all of a sudden it's a babyface thing. They're going to get the heel manager is going to get their payback. So this whole story is building up to this match, but really not the match. The match doesn't mean anything at this point.
No, it was more so about Bubba Ray Dudley and Trish.
Right. And they got there. So like the match happens. TNA do get the win. They were a new team. They were trying to establish them. Obviously, they never really went too far with them, but she got them over as best she could because, like you said, even though she just new to the company, she was already ready to start. So this match went 11 minutes, believe it or not. She distracts. They get the win. It's all the post match here. If you want to describe what happens here, Charlie, I'll let you take the lead here.
Trish.
She tries to get out of.
Yeah, Trish tries to get out of the ring with TNA, and
Bubba grabs her. Right?
Bubba Ray catches her, and she tries making out with Bubba Ray Dudley, and for a second it's working, and then he just gets her in for the power bomb, and off the top rope they explode.
And the crowd goes nuts. It's just a table exploded.
And also someone else to thank for this match, Jim Ross's commentary.
Okay.
For Bubba Ray Dudley's orgasmic trance that he was in.
Jared was on one here for sure. Back when he still cared about wrestling.
Now he just cares about his dope.
Oh my God, Jim Ross! What has become so
hey, I don't want to talk bad about the man. He was very good for a long time, but
doesn't he?
I'm not gonna begrudge him.
Now?
Yeah, you're right. He is. So yeah, they played this table explode. I mean, it looked very good. This move, like he protects her, but it still looked pretty good. And she sells it like she's unconscious. They put her on a stretcher. They took her back.
Which adds to what JML was saying about Trish, her sacrifice in this match.
Yeah,
as a newbie to take that bump.
The crowd goes nuts too. 2,000, right? But she, you know why? Because it wasn't the fact that he's beating up a woman. She deserved it because she was antagonizing these people for weeks. So she got and it didn't matter when the match. He got the big spot. They stretch her out. Test is chastising the referee. Hey, be careful, you pervert. Test is just yelling at the referees. Rest in peace, Test.
Just shouting in camera, "I got you, little bitch."
That was great. But Test, him and then Test, like I said, rest in peace, Test. Going way too soon. I always thought he should have been a star, but we'll talk about him another time. But anyway, it's actually I like what they do here because they're willing. They put her in the ambulance, and as the ambulance is driving away, we see another car coming up with a horn honking, right? Or this limo, whatever this car is. And who is it? But Eddie Guerrero, who we talked about before, pulling up to the arena with China. To explain
this
storyline.
Angle, number one, this angle was just so good.
Yeah.
Coming from the prom for him to get his GED. I
didn't know was a thing at the time. Even I was like, wait, when he went to night school, apparently they have a prom at the night school. Pay-per-view. And he's coming back just before his match. Good timing, Eddie. But yeah, you're right. This angle, like, it's so stupid and ridiculous. It shouldn't have worked, but it just worked because the two of them had incredible chemistry.
Yeah. And it really wasn't that long lived either, right? It was a
No,
couple months, maybe.
couple months. They after summer, like around September, I think they ended it. So yeah, a couple months, but it got Eddie. It actually got him over to the point where he could move on from there, and then we know where he went from there. Obviously,
Let's also side note, Eddie Guerrero was so good that he wrestled in, it was only 8 minutes and 38 seconds, but he wrestled in dress shoes, tuxedo pants, and a bow tie.
Yes. I guess yes, he did. You're right. In those shoes, that was pretty impressive. And as JR, or was it King who said, Eddie's wearing white socks too. Fashion faux pas.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess we should mention this match. So this is Eddie when he's European champion, and he's supposed to be defending against S.A. Rios, who we brought up on the last look back WrestleMania 14 when he was Aguila under the mask against Taka. But here he is, S.A. Rios, with the just recently debuted Lita as his manager at the time. As in a team up probably nobody remembers unless you were watching at the time.
For $5 in store credit, you guys can't answer. Just chat. What was Lita's name in ECW? You guys have 1 minute to answer. 1 minute to answer.
Yeah, she had a short stint in ECW a year before this.
Yep.
And they must have WWE saw her and said, "Oh, we can use her."
Well, they kind of had a talent
exchange
going on because Al Snow went there and came back.
Yeah, they had a bit of a talent swap. They would help him out with money and stuff because Vince must have.
Remember when they sent Brockus to ECW?
Yeah, I do. When they were doing the whole RVD showed up on Raw, so he's like against ECW. They were bringing in WWF guys, like guys they weren't using. Brockus, yeah, we could do a whole half episode on that. All those vignettes for what? We got any answers here? Kane Train, because somebody's got to tell me. Who is anybody got to answer?
What are we doing?
Come on, guys.
Come on.
We have people watching. We have people sitting on their thumbs, though.
They have no idea what we're talking about.
It's crazy. What a crazy industry.
Hit him with an answer in 5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Glad to know somebody's listening.
Rick.
Okay, yes. Actually, she also had a second name that she used in ECW, but we're not going to go there for bonus credit if anybody knows that. Or who was she managing at the time? If you want some bonus credit.
Ooh, digging deep.
It's my Ms. 1 of 1. Thank you, Alan.
Nah, but we love to see that. I'm going to guess nobody's going to try to answer this question. I'm just impressed we got an answer.
Tell him, Frank.
Yeah, Miss Congeniality.
Didn't Eddie Guerrero, wasn't Eddie released at some point as well?
Yeah, the next year, actually, right before the invasion started, he was sent home, and then he wound up getting released that fall when he was away, supposedly going to rehab and stuff. He got into a DUI, had a DUI, and they let him go. He comes back.
This was a pay-per-view that featured a lot of signed people that they signed as free agents that became kind of letdowns, right? You think about it.
Yeah.
Taz, right? For one reason or another, Taz, right?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about obviously when he went there, he didn't look as intimidating, but he was also pretty much at the end of his rope.
No, but also apparently, from what I heard in the hearsay, is that he didn't want to sell, and if he's not going to sell, like that's not going to work, especially for Vince when a guy is 5'5", right? And he's not going to sell a move,
right? I mean, and despite all that, he still debuted him strongly. He gave him that quick win against Angle at the Rumble. That was a big spot for him.
Keyword debuted.
Well, the other thing was Taz. Remember when he used to have his radio show, Taz show?
Yeah.
He spoke about that a few times at length, and he said that was like the worst thing that ever happened to him was that overwhelming ovation, because it was never going to be the same. It was never going to be replicated, and it was kind of just all downhill from there.
Yeah. the most that came out of this was his run as a commentator, which he's probably more remembered for by a lot of people.
That's a fair point.
And to this day, even he made a whole second career out of it. Him and Cole together as a team was always fun too. So
it was a good
my favorites.
The second best Cole team of all time.
Yeah, second. Yeah, probably.
McAfee and Cole.
McAfee. Mm-hmm. I like Cole and JBL as well, but McAfee and Cole is obviously another level.
Cole takes it.
We miss you, Pat. Congratulations on becoming a father.
Yeah.
By the way, we hope to see him back soon.
And it was like the baby was almost born like on his birthday too, because his birthday was like a day.
Was that his first
prior? Huh?
Was that his first?
Yeah.
His first.
Okay. All right.
S.A. Rios, he wasn't bad in the ring at all. He just obviously he couldn't talk. He couldn't get himself over. But
he was very young too here, guys. He was, I believe, in his 21 still.
He was like 21, 22.
Yeah.
He was saying some cool moves. He had a great moonsault. Like he got crazy height on this moonsault during this match too.
From an in-ring perspective, he was fine. It just as soon as he lost Lita, it was done.
That was the whole gimmick. She would just mimic his move, and that was over. But then they took her away. They saw the Hardys getting popular. Let's put her with them, and obviously they were off to the races there. But he in ring he was a lot of fun. I like using him in the video game that year. And No Mercy, he was a lot of fun to play as. But that moonsault was crazy. Even in the game,
no one will ever beat me in that game.
No one will.
I know that. I'm not even going to try. I haven't played it in a long time, and if I did, I certainly wouldn't challenge you. So Eddie wins this match. Doesn't hit the flag splash, but he it's kind of like almost like a gory special into just drops it. It's something I hadn't seen him use before, but he gets the pin off this. And Lita decides she wants to just tear poor Chyna's prom dress off, which just gets more of a pop anyway, because again, 2000. And
this was like the
Lawler almost has a stroke. I know I don't want to joke. He just recently had a stroke, but he almost passed out. I think at this point.
You already said it, Frank. So just
you can't really take that back.
Can't really take one back.
And I always find
glad to hear Jerry's doing better.
Why on earth was this match placed as the sub main event? Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit. You could have put the TNA tag team match there. This is usually the spot for matches that go overlooked.
Right, or like cool down matches. Yeah. They put like two of the best workers they have in the ring.
Yeah.
I guess they wanted to spotlight them,
Granted, it was a wonky finish.
At this point, I think they were high on Benoit, believe it or not. And Jericho, even though he had kind of had a few hiccups, they were still.
This was coming off of Jericho. Wasn't this around the time where Jericho got the fake WWE title win? Or is this?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks before this show. Yeah. About 2 weeks before this.
Oh, at it. Yeah.
On that Raw, yeah. So leading it. In fact, he's even on the original poster for this page.
He got super over after
really
that.
Quickly. Yeah. Yeah, he was like the number 2 babyface the rest of this year for sure. Unless when Austin came back, obviously maybe not, but he was definitely up there. And these guys couldn't have a bad match if they tried. So
no,
I know Charlie the other day you commented, "Well, this match is really good." I said, "Well, what a shock." You gave these two guys 15 minutes on pay-per-view. What do you think is going to happen?
Best wonky finish match.
Did you like this one? Yeah. How about this finish? So we have the referee gets knocked down. Benoit tries to use the title, backfires, and then he's got Jericho down, and he goes for the diving headbutt, and Jericho just kind of grabs the belt and just holds it up. You don't really see it, and then Jericho goes, "What happened? Oh, that sucks. Why is he calling for the DQ?" And they should have replays because the referee.
It was clear as day.
He tried to sneak it in, but it didn't. He nails this belt too. Always fun to watch now. Replays of these matches where he's doing this diving headbutt. Yeah,
it's not. It's not fun. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's very difficult. For me to talk about any of the Benoit matches.
It's hard to even watch. It's very detached. You have to be detached to watch the match, and it's weird.
And up until 2007, in everything that came out, I was always of the mindset that he's the best wrestler I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Like even better than Brett.
Right.
And I would even say, if you're leaving everything off of the table, he's probably the best of all time from an in-ring perspective.
Purely in-ring perspective.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
But because of what happened, I just leave him out of the equation altogether, and that's just
fair. Yeah,
me.
that's
I know
fair.
other people.
Oh, yeah, he's not going on anyone
Totally fair.
anytime soon. But
yeah, he was like whoever your guy now is that people are obsessed with. He was that guy back then, from like his from Nitro days all the way up to this point. Like I said, I think they were pretty high. I mean, he came in, he was already Intercontinental Champion. He gets a world title match against The Rock at Fully Loaded. So yeah, they were trying to push him pretty quickly. This match, of course, is great. Even with the silly finish, their feud would continue. So they're just setting up more matches. Jericho would actually
these guys can wrestle each other in their sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Is Jericho? He's basically like the godfather of one of Benoit's kids, isn't he? Like pseudo,
possibly
to David.
Yeah, I mean, I know recently they got together and he invited him to an AEW show a couple years ago. They did show that on that Dark Side episode. So yeah, he's pretty close with him now. I think
something of that,
which is very nice for him. Like, I know it's got to be weird for him, but for him to like reach out to the kid, like that's a tough.
Yeah,
it's a tough spot to be in. I feel bad for the guy.
And the kid wanted to wrestle, but it's like
it's not going to work.
The other thing that he
looks too much like his dad.
He looks too much like his dad.
And even if he didn't, people would still feel. But that just makes it even worse for the poor guy. But he seems, and it's tough. I don't blame him. Like people would say, "Oh, he still loves that." Like it's his dad.
Yep.
It's hard to reconcile that.
Yeah,
that was a hero.
And I'm sure, like
really tough.
He obviously wasn't there when all of that went down.
You know what I did? But you know what I didn't know though? What I didn't know is like when in that Dark Side episode they show, I didn't realize how close he was with his younger brother or his half brother here, and that just made it more depressing. He wanted to be a tag team with him and all that. That really got to me when he mentioned that. Yeah, it's tough. It's hard not to bring this up anytime we got to talk about it.
In chat, how do you guys feel about this like Benoit situation? Let us know.
Not to put a damper on everyone's Friday or anything.
It's been 16 years almost coming up, and it still doesn't make sense to me. It's still rough to talk about.
The other thing is I got a new face cam. I think it looks a lot better.
Really nice.
So, nice,
man. It looks cool. Looks
guys, let me know in chat as well.
Yeah, what do we think, Chad? What do we think? Thanks again for joining us and chiming in. We can probably move on now. We've only got one match left here, and that's the big one.
Now, with this match in particular, this was like they saved everything because Austin wasn't
ready for
Mania in any shape or form. To make this grandiose
return or brief return,
right? WrestleMania 2000 as a whole, we haven't talked about it as a whole on the channel, but it was one of the biggest letdowns I think of any of the WrestleManias.
Yeah, aside from triangle ladder match standing out, I can't really think of any redeeming qualities.
It's very weird because during a really hot period for the company, like I said, this 2000 was probably one of their best years. If you're in ring wise, a lot of their pay per views were all top quality, but that one really sticks out. In a run of really good pay per views they had, that one I wouldn't just call it bad. It just didn't feel right. It was so weird. Even 15, which wasn't the best in ring, felt more like a Mania with stuff going on. Like a Russo-rific Mania, but it was still felt like something. This was just odd, but it's funny. Like you said, it's like they saved it, but it worked. They got a bigger buyer, and I know that they had a hot crowd here. It basically felt like a continuation of Mania here for sure. And we have Austin. Austin's been gone since Survivor Series when he went away from neck surgery. Obviously, he was ran over. He comes back here. Linda decides that she's going to say, "You're going to get a rematch," because Linda just chimed in at this point. Of course, she's always against her husband most of the time, so she chimes in and says, "No, I'm going to give Rock his rematch."
Even in real life,
apparently. Hey, whatever, right? Yeah. So she gives him the rematch, and then so Vince is like, "That's okay. We're going to make Shane the referee." So they do that. So her comeback was, "Well, Rock's going to have somebody in the corner. It's going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin." They go crazy. He destroys DX's bus, somehow explodes from dropping a beam on it. On the SmackDown before this, as we see on this video package. Great video packages. They've always been good at video packages. Like if you want to watch an old show, you don't know what's happening, these video packages will get you right there.
Oh yeah.
So in this, obviously, this is a match. These guys could wrestle a million times in their sleep as well. Like one of the maybe underrated rivalries over the years. Rock and Triple H here. This is pretty much all the shenanigans. The McMahons come out there, and the whole show they're saying Austin hasn't showed up yet. And Vince comes out and says, I'm sorry to say, he's not going to come here. If you look in your program, it says card subject to change. Yep. Classic Mr. McMahon heel shtick here. The whole McMahon Helmsley faction, whatever they want to call it. It's Fact Team, as Edge and Christian dubbed it at one point. The combination faction regime era. They even have the Stooges back at the show. Like they had like broke away, and now they're sucking up to Vince again.
The chair shot Gerald Briscoe takes here. Oh my God!
So anyway, I guess so. It's a match. There's shenanigans. Shane's not going to count for Rock. He decided Rock just grabs Shane and Triple H, puts them both through a table with a rock bottom, and then we get the parade of run-ins here. The Stooges come out. They attack Rock. They try to count the pin. And of course, what we're just waiting for. They're saying he's not here, but that any minute
he's there.
Break, and it does. And the crowd goes wild as usual. And like you said, he comes to the ring, comes down with this chair. Still a couple months off neck surgery, looking a little tubby here for Austin, not in the best shape.
Yeah,
but comes down he lumbers down. Hey, I can't talk really. Comes down, like you said, he nails Briscoe with his chair shot.
Briscoe, oh my God,
poor man. He still.
This is why they don't have the chair shots to the head.
I don't miss them, honestly. Even then, it was like, jeez. Like, he cracks him. At least Vince and I think and Patterson actually get a hand up, but he just nails poor Briscoe here. That's the second time tonight that somebody has got nailed with an object right in the head.
Yeah.
We talked about X-Pac before. Yeah, so he lays everybody out with chairs, and then he takes off, and here comes Linda with Earl Hebner, who had been fired, if you recall, after the Jericho fake title win. Which happened because he fast counted Triple H because Triple H had abused him, so he was fired. She brings him back out. Rock gets up, spine buster people's elbow. Hebner in with his classic slow 3 count, and once again, The Rock is your champion here for I believe the 4th time at this point in his career.
So
First time as a babyface.
Here's my as much as The Rock and Triple H, the feud was good. I did not like the fact that they hot potatoed the belt between the both of them.
They would do that a lot coming up after this, dude.
Because Judgment Day, you have the Iron Man match.
Then he wins it at the King of the Ring in a 6-man by pinning Vince, which is ridiculous. Yeah. Very weird. Very weird. I mean, I love that Iron Man match. It's one of my favorites, but one that doesn't get brought up with the Iron Man matches. But I did like that.
It was almost as if they wanted Rock to surpass the number of reigns that Hogan and Bret Hart had, and they were like, "How do we get him, past the 5?" Because they both had 5 title reigns.
I think at this point already Austin probably had around 3 or 4 himself at this point.
Yeah,
but yeah, Rock was this was his 4th, I believe, because he had won it 3 times when he was corporate Rock, and he didn't win it again until here.
Then he gets it back.
He gets it back
to King of the Ring,
and then he loses it to Angle, and then he gets it back from Angle going to the year. Yeah, so he's already at 6 titles.
Make up your mind, man.
So this man is already 2 more reigns by the time he gets to WrestleMania the following year, believe it or not. So he's already at 6 at that point.
That really is hot.
He didn't quite get to John Cena, but he did win a title. He could have. He did win the title only 10 years ago, ending one of the
with one goddamn people's elbow.
after he had cleanly lost the match. I know the Shield, because you didn't see nothing. The lights were out. I remember that happening. Well, we'll have to talk about that Rumble someday. I'm sure it'll be a fun one. Yeah, I mean, what could you say here? So this is it's a wild match. It's not. I mean, it's more of like a 20-minute angle than a match. I mean, it's fine action, but it's just that's how it was at the time. This was like a traditional Attitude Era main event brawl around shenanigans, but it gets the happy ending here. Austin comes back out towing the bus somehow. He towed it all the way here to Washington.
That's why he was delayed in getting there.
Yeah, he was towing the bus. It took him a long time to tow that bus on his truck. he comes back out, toasts The Rock. Doesn't stun him because he probably physically couldn't at this point, but
yeah.
So they have a little moment here, and that's it. It goes off there. Rock celebrating, sends the fans home happy, unlike what happened at that WrestleMania. So he would then lose it only about 3 weeks later. I think this is actually right after this is when he filmed the Scorpion King.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken, or not Scorpion King. Mummy Returns. I'm sorry,
Mummy Returns.
The cameo of the Scorpion King, which was mostly CGI anyway, but yeah. That was his big.
Haku Machete.
Actually, he had just hosted SNL right before that Mania.
That's all he says. That's all he says.
That's all he says.
I know.
His SNL appearance was much more entertaining around this time.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
It was about a month before this, when the Triple H was there as well, Foley and Big Show. It was just silly, but silly. One of the funnier episodes. Yeah, so Rock is your champion here. It bounced back and forth as we talked, but for tonight, at least at this point in time, we close out with these two guys celebrating. So So overall, some underrated stuff in this card.
It's a good show.
In this card. Like I said, the Scotty and Malenko was an underrated gem. Jericho and Redacted had a typical good match. Eddie was very entertaining here.
The question that I want to know is, what show are we doing next month for May?
Ooh.
What would you? We got a few people watching. What would you guys like to see?
Yeah, because we could have done if it was going to be King of the Ring, but it's not. But so Night of Champions is not a lot of probably or / Clash of Champions.
I mean, you have Judgment Day.
You could just do a Judgment Day because it's May, but unless do you want to talk about that Iron Man match right away? We could.
I don't know.
What's the chat thing? What do you want to? Is there what show what classic May pay-per-view would you like us to go over?
Think World Heavyweight Championship also, because that's what the highlight's going to be on. So
true. And we've only got 3 weeks of the show, so we're gonna have to do this pretty soon.
Yeah.
But
it's a good.
Be back at some point next week to talk about the results of the 2023 Backlash for sure. And our world title mini tournament will be underway by that point.
On paper, this Backlash may not look the best, but I think it'll follow through with a decent showing.
Yeah, much like the one we're talking about right here. Yeah, I mean, obviously you got Triple H and Rock, but maybe if you look at the card, it looks okay, but it was pretty fun. It was a feel-good show for the most part, so that's always good. What's the chat saying?
Chad is dead. Chad is
dead. Okay. I'm still just happy that somebody got that answer before. That was very impressive.
Yeah.
Geniality, ECW with Danny Doring and Roadkill, if you recall those. It was actually Danny Doring.
Now, what was the other gimmick she was under?
Well, she was also. They also called her Angelica briefly, but they gave her the sash that said Miss Congeniality, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
So she was still new to the business at the time, but obviously they saw something in her because she was sent. She came up here pretty quickly. Making food was the question. No, I was just wondering, any more thoughts on what other show would you like us to review next?
Go back in time and watch.
Pay-per-view.
Man, there's some real stinkers.
Yeah, there is. If I can think of a few, maybe not the best.
How about Judgment Day 2009? Main event for that show.
I remember that
Edge and Jeff Hardy.
All right, I'm down. Always down for Edge.
Opening match. Umaga and CM Punk.
Wow.
It'd be good to rewatch some of this stuff.
Oh, that's right. They had a little feud, right? That was right before Umaga would never be seen again.
2009. Got it.
Yeah, like a forgotten Jeff Hardy Edge match there for sure.
We could do that. We could do this.
Taker.
I'll Taker Mankind.
We could
do that next month.
We could do 96. We could double up King of the Ring if you want to.
We could do that in June, yeah.
No, I'm saying we can do. We're going to be doing this one so late.
That's true. That's true.
98 King of the Ring.
I mean, it's mostly known for that, yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
We could do
We
it.
can do that one. That one's easy. I know that one like the back of my hand. I don't even think I have to watch it.
Yeah, that's another one I had bought the VHS for after all the hype about that Cell match. I've seen it a lot. I watched it quite a few times, the whole show. So yeah,
that sounds like a winner. We could do that one, and then
easy one.
Since we have Money in the Bank in June, right?
Oh man,
that's true. We do. You're right.
No, Money in the Bank's July.
Like beginning of July again.
Money in the Bank.
Like beginning.
July 4th weekend.
It's beginning. So it's basically yeah.
So we can do King of the Ring, then a Money in the Bank.
Okay. And then we got to figure out which Money in the Bank. Well, there's one very famous one in Chicago.
We could do that one.
Since that would be it would be very timely. Huh.
That's good. Right. That's good.
We still appreciate the support.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
I think that is all for this evening. I will see you guys. Well, not you guys, but the audience, some of this audience on Sunday for some group breaks. We have some teams left in the NFL PYT. We have like 4 teams left. Let's get that filled. Let's get baseball filled and basketball. Plenty of spots available. Good night. Good luck. You guys have anything else to say?
Enjoy Backlash, everybody.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Enjoy Backlash. Do something fun. Go watch Guardians of the Galaxy. I saw it last night. I'm going to go see it again on Sunday. It was a lot of fun. So peace out, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Peace.